And we got a Zay Jones, who's a difference maker
dude.
last week.
Sure. Hey, you remember he was the dude that jumped out a hotel room window, like when he was with the Bills.
Yes.
Thought he was Superman.
Yes.
Like he was on something.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug, brother.
Yeah, it is. All right, guys. What up? We are live. Welcome to a new episode of the Playmaker podcast. I believe we're on episode 11. I'm about to start just stopping the whole count because we're going through these. But we got a special guest in the house tonight, and we got our regular cast. Nate will actually be joining us in a little bit. He'll roll in a little bit later. But Gunz, why don't we start with you, man? Give us a little intro. Give us a little background. Where you from? Where you at? For any of the cats out here that don't know who you are.
Hey, what's going on, Jimmy Gunz? I'm out here in Oregon, Central Oregon, by way of Portland, Oregon. Man, I just been in the hobby for a while. It's my first time being here. I appreciate it. Do my gun show Saturdays, 4:00 Pacific. Man, just here to talk a little bit of football and see what goes on.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, we're happy to have you here, brother. Brady, how you doing tonight?
Doing okay. It was a up and down weekend for my sports team, to say the least. But I'm excited to be back. Excited to talk some sports. So,
all right, Balls. You doing?
I'm good, man. Just freezing out in the garage, but the Bears got a win at the game I was at yesterday, so it was pretty fun to be in the stadium for that. Even though they're a bad team, and ready to rock out with Ben Roethlisberger making his last ride tonight.
Well, we're going to talk about that as well, man. I just saw him run out the first time when they were warming up earlier. The big applause, the fans really behind him, supporting him. So, yeah, we'll get into that once we get more into the NFL. What we're going to do is we're going to touch on the playmakers real quick, and then we'll do the wheel spin. And then we'll roll from there. Make sure we get this shared out, everybody, as well, because people are not getting notifications. I know that for sure. I had someone else reach out to me yesterday saying, man, they had their notifications on everything, and they missed my, last 2 or 3 lives, had no clue I was live till, the next day. So let's make sure we get this shared out. I'm going to do that real quick while I'm kind of going through my playmaker here. So my playmaker for the week is going to be Mac Jones. This kid is freaking unbelievable. 22 for 30, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. This guy has this team, man, they're looking tough with the defense that they have and the way he's going out and executing clock management you guys got to remember, this kid is a rookie. For being a rookie, he is putting up some crazy numbers and doing some crazy things. He's kind of making some of those other teams that went past him and didn't pick him first as a first quarterback kind of look maybe in some people's opinion silly. I don't know. But man, that's the playmaker for this week. Gunz, you got anybody special you want to shout out, playmaker?
I mean, I'm a Raider fan, so I got to talk about Zay Jones, right? Zay Jones came in with 8 catches, 120 yards. Big catches, not just little stuff. He came through with some big catches, some clutch hands. And man, if the Raiders are going to make a playoff push, we're going to need big things from him.
Yes, sir.
We'll see,
I love it.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, man, Zay Jones, who would have thunk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were talking about this before we went live. This dude had maybe a little drug issue or something when he was with the Buffalo Bills for a minute there. He thought he was Superman, and he actually went through a hotel window, thought he could fly. So ain't that some crap? And he's got himself back together. He looks good. He's actually been looking stellar. It's funny. We do have to touch on some DFS every once in a while because that's part of this podcast too. And he's a guy that I like to plug in every once in a while. I'll take him. He's cheap, price-wise, and he usually makes it at least worth it for me and hits that value. So I like it. Zay Jones.
This just in. It turns out that Zay Jones was actually jumping out the window trying to catch one of Derek Carr's horrible third down check down passes that he throws into the dirt all the time. So he thought it was coming. He jumped in. He's a team player.
I love it. Gunz in here taking shots at his own quarterback. You got to love it, man. We got to love it.
Sometimes you get angry.
Brady, what's up, buddy? Talk to me. Who's your playmaker, dog?
My playmaker is from our hometown Chicago Bulls, Mr. DeMar DeMarvelous DeRozan. 27.8 points per game this week, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. The Bulls went 4-0, and he was the first player in NBA history to hit buzzer beater winning shots on back-to-back nights.
Wow, dude.
The only other person,
and he's getting old, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's the age on that guy?
I think he's 30, 31, 32. I have to look it up. But
he seems like he's older than that. Doesn't he seem like he's been playing for like 20 years or some shit between the Spurs and now on the Bulls? Seems like he's going to leave forever. 32. Wow.
But,
yeah, but
hey, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and
DeMar DeRozan, big tripping.
Yeah.
But somebody went and grabbed that ball for him, didn't they? Somebody grabbed that ball and went and gave it to him.
They did. They did, and then he literally just tossed it away. He's like, I hit it.
I don't need it. I love it. Balls, who you got for us?
Brady, I'm going to let you say it because I know what you're going to say. He's the only player besides who? Larry Bird to make back-to-back game winners. Larry Bird had a day off in between, but DeMar DeRozan, he's the man. My guy, I don't know if you guys watched that Ohio State game this weekend versus Utah.
No.
Holy cow, what a game. What a fun game to watch, especially the second and the fourth quarter. But I had to take Jackson Smith, and I might pronounce the last name wrong, but I think it's Njimba. 15 catches, 347, and 3 TDs. Right. And, I took him because I was thinking about we always have this, and Kirk Herbstreit got kind of roasted for it this weekend. Players opting out of these bowl games. Does Njimba get that look if Chris Olave is there this weekend? Maybe not as much. He was a consistent player throughout the whole season for Ohio State. Really, a good receiver for him. But that gave him his opportunity to shine. And boy, did he step up on a big stage. Had a top 10 catch over the shoulder in the end zone. The guy showed up when his team needed it most. And I had to take him. Most receiving yards in bowl game history.
Yeah, that's like quarterback. That's like quarterback. Minus the receptions, that's like a quarterback. That's like quarterback having a good game. 347 yards and 3 TDs. Throwing, right?
I don't think a Bears quarterback's ever had that in my lifetime.
I hate to be this guy, but you know me. I love taking shots. And I got to take some shots at Balls and his team right here. That is as many yards as Robinson all year. That is more yards than Goodwin. That is more yards than every Bears receiver except for 2. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there. Next week we're not having Jimmy as a guest.
It's just that many yards in a bowl game. That is intense. That is crazy.
It's like a quarter.
Quarterback numbers,
I guess in college football, you would say a quarterback. A lot of times when a college quarterback goes off, like they're throwing for like fucking 500 and some, almost 600 yards sometimes, depending on who they're playing. But yeah, that's absolutely insane. I'm going to throw out, before we move on and get past the playmaker section of this, or for our playmakers, I'm going to throw out Nate's because he's going to be late joining us. His is going out is going to be Jamar Chase, 11 receptions, 266 yards, and 3 TDs. Man, he had to go and rub that in. The guy that I was playing in my big boy, big money championship this weekend, I had Higgins, he had Chase. It could have went either way. Went to Higgins last week, which saved my ass to get me into the championship because I lost Cook and Eckler last week due to COVID protocols. This week, I went up, he had Chase, and Burrow went and smashed again, but just threw them all to Chase. Did you see some of those catches that dude was making? It was absolutely mind-blowing. He was literally like defenders would have him like getting the hand right in the hand area, and he would just pull around in the air and like grab his arms and just snack the ball like from the guy as his hands like trying to bat it away and like lift it over and catch it. I don't know how the dude does it. Like this guy in spring training was having difficulty catching a football. They were literally talking. There was a whole article about this. They don't know if it's the going away from having the white stripes on the ball on each end, like in college football, to no stripes, and now he can't catch a ball or what. but he figured it out. We talked about this a few weeks back on this podcast when he had another big week. The dude is a monster, and now he's going to the Pro Bowl as well. So, great,
So is
great
he the
pick
hands
for
down
Nate.
rookie of the year?
What's that?
Is he the hands down rookie of the year?
No, well,
You don't think so?
Mac Jones is
I mean,
probably
we're
going to
talking
get
about
it.
we're talking about a rookie that has more yards than or almost as many yards as Devontae Adams, has more yards than Hill, more touchdowns than both of them on 79 catches.
I think they'll probably still give it to Mac Jones.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's
hard to say, but
Yeah.
that's something. Hey, that's something we can debate as we move into the NFL section. That'll be a good topic that we can all debate on and discuss on
sure.
who we think should be or shouldn't be or who should get it. So what I want to do, let's roll our let's get our Monday night game predictions in before we share the screen and give away our $30 PayPal or auction credit to someone who left a comment last week. And again, we'll discuss this. I'll have Balls or somebody explain it when we do it. But let's go around the horn. We'll go Balls this time first. We'll go Balls, Brady, Jimmy, then myself. Balls, who do you got tonight?
Go ahead. I got to take the Steelers tonight, man. Steelers, Browns. I know the Browns are probably going to run the ball a bunch, take the ball out of Baker's hands. That really fits their style. But, man, I think that stadium is going to be so electric tonight. Let their QB really know, it hasn't been the best season for Ben, but this is about just celebrating his career overall and what he's come from and, what he was able to accomplish this whole time. So give me the Steelers. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but I'll take the Steelers tonight just because I want to ride with Ben.
Okay. Brady?
I think I'm going to go Cleveland. I think the ball's going to stay on the ground a lot, to be honest. And, I think Cleveland obviously is not playing for a whole lot, but can they get in if they win their last two? I guess I'm not sure where they're at in the standings. I didn't think so. But, hey, they can play spoils, right? So if you're a Cleveland team, that's your rival, right? That's a division rivalry. So I think it'd be, like I said, balls, like Ball said, it'll be a sloppy game, but we'll see.
Gunz, who you got, buddy?
I'm going to go Steelers. I mean, they say it's quite possibly. I mean, it's his last regular season game at home, right?
Right.
I could see Deontay Johnson just going off. The dude's had like 100,000 targets in the last few weeks. But I could see Big Ben just gunslinging it, just throwing it like crazy.
Yeah, I could see that too.
So, Steelers.
I could see that too. I think I'm going to lean towards the Browns, though. I actually took the Browns in the money side, on the plus money side tonight. Didn't bet a ton, didn't bet the house, but I want Big Ben to have a big game. I think he had an awesome career. I mean, you guys got to remember this guy back in when he was drafted, he was one of the first quarterbacks, or maybe, one of the first quarterbacks to go like 15-0 as a rookie. I mean, we think about this. We think about like Mac Jones right now, who's on a great run as a rookie quarterback, and he's 10 or 11-4 or whatever the hell the record is for the Pats. This dude went 15-0 his first 15 starts in his career. Didn't lose a game as a rookie. That's absolutely insane. So just think about that when he started. So I'm going to go Browns. So we got a split on the Monday night game. All right, guys, we're going to share out the screen real quick. We are going to go ahead and get this little giveaway taken care of. You should see on here. So we got all the comments. A lot of comments, man. Awesome. We got some new people. We got the Chewing Grounds podcast. They actually are a podcast channel as well that talks sports and stuff. So little shout out to them. Cool. They found us. Showing some love. Reached out to me a little bit. And then I got the wheel here. I got the list. Actually, I think there was like 23 or 24 comments. Obviously, doubles don't go in or don't work. But Balls, you want to let them know what happens or why we're doing this and what the whole objective here is with this?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, we want to grow the podcast a little bit, get more viewers, get more opinions and stuff. And obviously, more people to join the show. Thanks for joining tonight, Jimmy, by the way.
Absolutely.
But what you do is when the podcast uploads tonight, or even tomorrow morning, you're going to go and leave a comment on the tonight's episode or the episode that just aired. And you leave a comment, a question. We bring it up during our discussion, and then you're entered into the drawing. It's super easy. We've had quite a few people that 1 week forgot to enter the next week. We pull them as a winner. So make sure you get your comments in there, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and just help us kind of grow the thing and get a reward in return.
Yes, sir. So when this one finishes, make sure after tonight you can go as soon as it's uploaded tonight and start doing it, or you can do it all the way throughout the week until basically an hour or so before we start the show next Monday night. So we're going to shuffle the names 7 times as always, as we do, and then we're going to spin it, whatever it lands on. You get that 30, either PayPal or auction credit. You just let me know what you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. Let's spin it. Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck. Wow. Shaw's won a couple times. That was almost NARU. And NARU's won before too. So congratulations, my dude. Let me know what you guys want. And let's move on. So I think what I want to do is I want to dive in. I want to get Brady's feelings out. I want to get all that aired out. I want to just get this pushed past so we can kind of move on. I want to discuss college football for a few minutes. I want to discuss this past weekend's games, the playoff games, right? We have Alabama defeating Cincy, which we kind of figured was going to happen, 27-6. We had Georgia defeat Michigan, 34-11, which a lot of people said, I told you so. I think the whole panel that we had last week when we were picking who we were going to have, we were all riding with Michigan. We're all riding with Harbaugh and his khakis, or his blue Dockers, I guess, these days. But, man, heartbreaking loss. I had some money on that game. I was riding with Michigan. We have the championship game set up for Alabama versus Georgia. I guess first I want to just hear your guys', if anybody saw the games, what your guys' thoughts were on them. And then after that, we'll kind of roll into who we think is going to win the national championship. So we can go let's go Balls first this time. Or Brady. Let's go Brady first. Brady first. We'll go diagonal.
Yeah, so obviously disappointing game as a Michigan fan. There's some question, I think, from people who were Georgia, people looking at this game and looking at the Georgia-Alabama game, and it's like, okay, this Georgia team was historic all year, and then they just looked bad against Alabama. Was it the fact that they hadn't played anybody really the last month and a half? Was it the fact that Alabama just looked that good? And I think we found out that maybe just Alabama looked that good for a game, because that Georgia defense was insane. So physical, speed everywhere. It didn't help that Michigan had lost the turnover battle 3-0. It doesn't help you at all in the game. Cade McNamara, Michigan quarterback, looked completely overwhelmed. Right. And so my bright spot as a Michigan fan next year is I'm glad he won't be the quarterback. My assumption will be 5-star recruit freshman J.J. McCarthy will be the starting quarterback next year. I would bet money on that if I could. But, it's an interesting rematch. I think Georgia, I saw in the opening line, was favored by 2.5, I think, or something like that. So at this point, it's pretty much a toss-up. But both teams obviously have a lot to play for. It's a game that just happened recently, so we will see if Georgia can respond. Big thing to think about in that game, too, is Alabama no Mechie. So Georgia's defense, their speed, they really only have to rely on Williams. So it'll be interesting.
So the one thing I think is important here real quick before I get to Gunz and Balls, if they have anything to add on the games this past weekend, is the thing you bring up about, 5-star recruits. This season Michigan had, there's a lot of victory out of it as well, because like you say, the amount of attention that's now drawn to this football program, the showing that they can get and they can be competitive, right? They can be right up there with these top teams. And I think that's important, as far as in a recruiting aspect, when they're going out there trying to get these 5-star recruit players, these kids out of high school from down south, or wherever the top players are, these running backs, these quarterbacks, defensive players, these linemen, whatever it is, whatever fits the bill, right? The whole squad, the whole 11 on on each side of the ball. It's huge. And I think you're going to continue to see Michigan be a player now because they're going to start gaining that talent. And we got Nate joining us as well. What up, Nate? Welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing, big
What
dog?
up?
All right, we're just touching on college football. I don't know if you heard me or not, if you could hear backstage. Someone has something on. We got to turn it off. We're echoing.
I think it's Nate.
Nate?
Might be me.
All right.
No, Def, I think you make a good point, though. And I think the biggest thing is Ohio State was number one in recruiting in the Big Ten for a while because they've been competing. And, you know, the one thing that as a Michigan program you can take is it's going to take a couple years to chip away at that recruiting title and kind of getting some bigger names in. And after the Ohio State victory this year, Michigan had 5 or 6 recruits immediately commit to Michigan over this year and next year's, over the upcoming class and then the year following that. So it's, you know, these things, obviously they wanted to win on Friday. It's a step in the right direction if you're Jim Harbaugh. You've now shown a group of your own players, your own recruits that you can go do it, and you can go to recruits now and say, we won the Big Ten. We beat Ohio State. The next step is come help us take that next step. And the next step is to go win a playoff game. So
exactly. All right, Gunz, Balls, Nate, you guys got anything to add?
I'm not big on college football, but obviously everything I go to goes right back to the Raiders, and I think we have as many Bama guys as Bama has. So I'm going to go ahead and go with them. But I don't watch a bunch of college football. I don't pay attention.
No, that's all good.
About a month before the draft, and then I pretend I'm an expert.
There you go. As a lot too. Balls, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I really think that Michigan game came down to the fact that Georgia defensive line controlled the point of attack all game long. And I think Michigan ended up with 29 rushing yards or something like that. We talked about that was how they were going to have to control the game. And the minute you don't control the point of attack and you start giving up big plays, you know, with unfortunately Cade McNamara as their quarterback, they're not going to win that game against Georgia. I thought they should have went to McCarthy a little bit earlier. But I'm not gonna second guess Harbaugh in that instance. He knows his team well enough. It really just came down to that offensive defensive line battle. You know, if I had to pick for the title game, I'm gonna go with the head coach and the quarterback. And I think the head coach and quarterback leans towards Bama. You know, we've always heard Bama right now. This is one of the worst Bama teams. They keep winning. You can be the worst Bama team of the past 10 years and still win a national title. And I think for Georgia, this is a real big game for them, for their program moving forward. If they don't beat Bama and you lose to Bama in this one, where Bama is, in my opinion, they're supposed to win. But you're talking Nick Saban gets you a title year in and year out. Are them kids going to want to go win a title? Like Brady said, Michigan now has the ability to recruit with Ohio State. This is going to be big for that recruiting battleground down south. Do you want to win a national title as a college football player? I mean, that whoever wins this game is going to shift the balance of power, I think. You know, Bama, if they lose, it's not going to be as big of a shift. It could be somewhat a bigger shift, I think, for Georgia moving forward if they lose this game. Because you still got the SEC bloods like Florida. You're talking about possibly, you know, the realignment coming with Texas possibly moving there. People are going to eat away at recruits. So this might have a little bit more of a swing than we even realize right now, I think, too.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point, Balls. I think you hit that right on the head. So Balls is going to take – he's rolling with Bama in the national championship. So let's go around the horn. We'll go Nate, Brady, Gunz, myself. Who do you got, Alabama or Georgia? Nate, talk to us, big dog. How you doing tonight?
All right, hey, I'm doing good. Is the mic clear and everything?
Yeah, you're good. No
okay. I mean, for the national championship, I gotta go Bama until Georgia proves me otherwise. I keep wanting to take Georgia. Georgia always looks like the better team, but Nick Saban just is their kryptonite. But he's find a way to either beat him at the end or prove him like, hey, not yet for Georgia. So I gotta go Alabama. Got to.
All right, man. Brady.
I'll go with Georgia. I'll go against the panel. I think that obviously it's hard for me to pick again, like Boul said, against the coach and the quarterback. That defense is really good, and I think they make adjustments this time. Obviously, I already mentioned Mechie not being there. It kind of limits the amount of weapons they have. Nakobe Dean is a monster at linebacker for Georgia. I will take him. I saw him run down Blake Corum, who might be one of the fastest 2 guys on Michigan's team. Just ran him down across the field as a linebacker, and just give me that all day. So hopefully the defense plays well, and I'll take Georgia.
He reminded me of Roquan Smith watching him play. Just that speed that he has, that's who it reminded me of. Both guys from Georgia. He looks like he fits that mold.
All right, Gunz, who you got, buddy? National championship, Alabama, roll tide, or are you going Bulldog?
I thought that's what we were talking about before. I already said Bama. See, my mother drank.
Oh, yeah, you did say Bama? Me, so. You already picked Bama. All right, you're rolling with Bama. Man, I'm kind of torn because I know we saw the speed against Michigan, but that young quarterback, Mr. Bryce Young, and Balls brings up a good point with the whole coaching. You know, you go with the coach. I don't think you overcoach. You don't overanalyze this. You go win yourself a championship. You ride that quarterback with the hot hand here. Yeah, I think I roll Bama too. So it'll be interesting. Brady might be a superstar on the pick here, pulling out the panel if Georgia goes ahead and does it, which they most possibly could. Man, it's anyone's game. Like you said, I think the spread was at like 2.5, and that's probably going to fluctuate as we get closer to the game, maybe by a half point or whatnot. So. Awesome. Anything else on the college football side of things before we move on, or can we kind of move on? All right.
Well, I mean, if you had a chance to watch any of the other bowl games, the Iowa-Kentucky game was really good. Came down to the fourth quarter. Like I said, Ohio State, I think that game, within a 3-minute span, I think there was like 35 points put up, a 56-yard play, 52, an 80-yard kick return. The bowl games really lived up to the hype on New Year's Day. So it was really nice to see that, especially since the semifinal games are kind of duds, I thought.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that New Year's Eve day game really took the spotlight.
Yeah, I slept most of New Year's Day. I just kind of took care of my body and got some rest. So
I did want to make one more. I want to make one more comment about college football, and for those of you guys that like college football, I just want to give my 2 cents about opting out and some of the players. I know Balsley kind of mentioned.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
I think there's been a long time concern with players opting out, not being committed to their team, not being committed to their teammates and all that sort of issue. And while I understand that, I have a very hard time with any of the other bowl games that are not playoff type bowl games. Luckily we had Sam Howell. When he got carted off the field, my first thought was this kid just lost millions and millions and millions of dollars for playing in a meaningless game. Meaningless isn't like, obviously everybody in that program's working hard. They're trying to win the game.
Right.
But luckily, it was just an ankle. It's not a big deal. He said he'll be fine by the time draft comes around. But I saw 3 years ago Jake Butt, who was supposed to be a number 1 first-round pick, tore his ACL, and then 2 years later, he's completely out of the NFL. So I just have a hard time with some people who are getting on some of these kids for putting their own financial future ahead. I'm not going to ever knock somebody for putting their own well-being and their future ahead of some of that.
And you also got to remember that this ain't necessarily going to be the case for every single player, but you got to look at it on a wider spectrum too, not just the kid itself or the player himself. Think about his family, the families. I mean, a lot of these kids, man, they grow up with next to nothing. They work their tail off, their ass off to get, they bust their ass to get through and get some type of scholarship to be able to go somewhere and play. They were probably homeless at some point, and now they're going to be these superstars and be able to be off and take care of their family. And the goals. Everybody would like to buy their mom a house. I'm not saying you even have to be homeless to do that, because it doesn't take that. But I'm just saying you got to really open up your eyes and realize that we don't know what any of these kids go through, what they've gone through, what their lives were like, and man, the opportunities that could stand in front of them. And then the other side of that is how they use that, how they approach it, how they live with that once they do get that money and that fame, and don't do something silly or stupid. So
let me play devil's advocate for that real quick, because I mean, here's the problem: is what happens if there is a meaningless game and a player decides, you know what, I'm not going to play because it doesn't do anything to benefit me. Then everybody's going to be just talking bad about them, saying they're just a me player. And it goes both ways. I remember when Earl Thomas broke his leg when he shouldn't have been playing, you know what I mean? And I remember him getting carted off and just flipping off the bench because the guy was playing without his contract, and it ended up happening. But if he would have continued to sit out, people would have just been dragging him through the mud the same. So in college, if you don't play, then all of a sudden you scouts like, this ain't a team player. This is a me player, and that could be a red flag for some,
I
so
agree
it's a slippery
with that.
slope.
And I do have an argument, a side argument to that too, Jimmy. For every Jake Butt that gets hurt, you have Micah Parsons, who's going to be the defensive rookie of the year. He sat out his bowl game. That man hasn't missed a step. So it's give or take.
Right.
Here's my opinion on it. Here's my opinion. Those sponsors, you want those kids playing, pay them. Pay them their money. Give them a contract up front. You get $250,000 right now. Or you get $250,000 with a $5 million injury insurance policy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Incentivize those kids to play now that we have NIL. And then if they don't, that's their fault. Make it worth those kids' time.
So I also, though, your rebuttal about it, and Micah Parsons was drafted by the Cowboys, who you have to fail a piss test or do something wrong in order for the Cowboys to even consider you. So if they wouldn't have took him at 12, he would have probably went off to the second round. Just saying.
Hey, Gunz, I will push back a little bit, though. I'm 100% agreeing with you. If there was any sort of responsibility by some of these coaches completely ditching players they've recruited and universities they've made commitments to. When coaches start doing that, I have a lot less respect for them, which makes me just say, all right, players, if you want to put your own priorities first, I'm not going to sit here and complain about that, because the person that you committed to is also just as likely to go do that. They're going to go chase money at LSU or USC like Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly did.
100%. Nope, you're right. You're 100% right there. Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, I think that was a good little college football segment for us. I mean, we had a bunch of bowl games, but let's be real. We're focusing on the semifinals and moving on to the championship. So let's kind of slide into the NBA. We're not really going to hit on NHL. Nobody really here that follows a ton of NHL. It's same thing week in, week out. And then the main focus, NFL and some hobby talk as well. This podcast. So especially we got Gunz in here as well. So NBA. Before I kind of get into where the teams are, I want to kind of get some opinions from you guys. What do you think the league should do? What do you think the NBA should do right now? Because obviously we're seeing things out of control. I mean, let me just paint a picture for you. Let me just give you an example. And this is on a fantasy season-long basketball aspect, as we throw some of that in here too. My team of 18 players, I have 5 active players right now, and I've had for about a week and a half. I literally have everyone else out, and I would say 10 to 11 of them are COVID health protocol. So what is the NBA going to do? Because I'm getting now burned by my commissioner, because he's saying, dude, people are thinking like you're setting it up so you're giving teams free wins and stuff, when I'm like, no, I'm not going to release my top stars for scrubs that are getting 35 minutes right now. That's going to last a week or a week and a half, so everybody else can pick up all my stars when they're back playing again or healthy. So what do we need to do with the NBA in your opinions? Does this thing need to take a pause? Do they need to figure out a bubble system again like they did that last year? What the heck can we do to control this? And some say, why is this so much more out of control versus some of the other leagues? Well, we got to remember, one, these guys are playing every single night or 4 or 5 nights a week. It's not like the NFL where they're playing once a week. Yeah, they practice every day or most days, but they're not traveling. They're not intertwined within different players. So anybody got any takes on what they feel or what they see we should do with the NFL? Or NBA, excuse me.
I still am confused why we are just testing everybody who's even asymptomatic. I mean, I think that's some of the cases that might be coming up, but
right.
I mean, if you have symptoms, so like the NBA, they announced starting on December 26th that they elevated testing for 2 weeks, which is why we've seen this influx in NBA COVID positive tests, and you have all these players going in quarantine for such a long time. A lot of them have been reported to be asymptomatic, which is why they've come back quicker. Because there's obviously different rules for symptomatic versus asymptomatic in regards to the protocols of coming back.
Right.
But I mean, if you're the NBA, I don't know what you do. I mean, this is something that's unfortunately everybody's going to get impacted in some way. It's the Omicron being so much more transmissible. And you have players flying around the country, even though they're on their private jets, they're in arenas every day, they're in locker rooms, they're with media, they're with people who aren't quarantined or even, maybe taking the protocols that NBA players should be. So right. I don't know what you do. I don't think a pause does anything because it's only going to, when you start back up, you're going to get the same thing 2 weeks later. Like,
well,
people are going to get it.
I think Brady, I think when I say pause, I think more in sense of making a pause to try to figure maybe a different path or a different way of doing things, right? So maybe taking a pause to figure it out and maybe getting a bubble style system back in place or something of that matter. Because you got to remember, I don't know how they'd make it work again, but when they did that damn bubble thing, there was rarely anything. I know it costs money. I get it.
I'm saying the amount of teams that lost money. Like, I'm watching the Bulls game. That stadium's 3/4 of the way filled right now. The Bulls are not going to say, I'm not giving up X amount, thousands of dollars every single night that we can't have a home game. I just don't think that they did it for a whole year during the big part of COVID.
But do they do that? But do they do that, or if it has to shut down, would they rather lose just completely and have nothing going on, or you know what I mean? Like, take what you can with what you're given. I mean, maybe there's got to be something in place for these teams if it is a bubble style system where they're getting some type of compensation. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It would have to be collectively bargained, especially because you're dealing with the players' union. And out of all the sports, the NBA players' union is the strongest union, and it's led by LeBron James. They're going to have a hard time convincing these players to go back into a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they stop. I look at the team like the Bulls, where we were down a ton of players at one point. I forget the total amount. It might have been up to 8 to 9 players. And it really tested their depth. And it's not, like you said, it's not fair that it's having impacts on a lot of teams. But as long as the NBA can still sell their superstars, they're not going to quit. They're just going to keep moving. And, maybe do they find ways to, make it more convenient? Do they change the schedule up at all and make some changes that way, where maybe one night, you play a home and home against the same team to make up 2 games? Do they reconfigure the schedule? Maybe, but I don't see them stopping. And that's strictly with the players. The players probably want to stop a little bit because they came off that long off. COVID pushed everything back, and I think they got maybe a month of rest and then came straight back into the season.
Right.
They might enjoy that, but we're talking billionaire owners aren't going to stop.
Yeah. Right. Gunz, Nate, you got anything on this? Any opinion, Ted?
All right, so here's what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna start throwing out numbers. Everybody knows that I know. It's something that I look into. I'm not gonna do that. But what I will say is that the word asymptomatic is a new talking point. When truth is, you can pass the crud whether you have symptoms or you're asymptomatic. So if you're out there playing, you're breathing on people, you're playing tight defense, you're doing exactly what they say not to do. You're sitting there and you're doing that. So how are they going to stop it? The only way they're going to be able to is to shut it all down, and we all know that's not going to happen. They're play through it. It's what they're going to do.
Right.
And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not gonna
Nate, you want to add anything, or are we good on that?
Yeah, I mean, all I would say is that, like I was at feeling the NBA will just got to play through it. I mean, like kind of like what Brady said, like a bunch of teams already dealt with COVID. Like I know the Sixers and B had COVID for a while. Tobias Harris had it. Maxey and Matisse just got on health and safety protocols before tonight's game. So yeah, I doubt the NBA shuts down. I doubt we do a bubble. Because, like I said, it costs some money. And two, when we did the bubble, we only had the playoff teams or teams that was in the playoffs. So instead of having like 32 teams, like I think it's going to be too much like logistical. So, yeah, like I think NBA's going to just ride a wave here. And then eventually, hopefully, like more like once it get more like February, March, hopefully they start dying down. And I guess it's going from there. So.
Does anybody else find it interesting that probably the whole NBA league now has had COVID, according to, maybe not the whole league, huh?
I'm glad the Bulls went through it. They don't have to deal with it later.
No. What I'm saying is, isn't it interesting though that, and it's also interesting that whenever these players get it, it's like, yep, they got the COVID or whatever. They'll be back in a week and a half, 2 weeks. My point is, we haven't lost one single professional player, and I know their health and the way that they're at is at an extreme level, and they usually say it affects people that are less healthy, etc. But isn't it just mind-blowing that we haven't heard of one? The whole league pretty much almost has probably gotten some type of form of it, and no word of like any extreme crazy health issue or anything. It just seems strange to me. I mean, think about how many players there are. Think about, it's not just your starters. It's you got your depth, you got your coaches, you got people on the, the whole 9 yards, and how much it's spread. Just an interesting thing.
I will say that there were some coaches that kind of came out and said that they did get hit pretty hard, but obviously that's an age difference from a lot of the players.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I'm just going to throw out.
The vaccination rate is high, right? So the vaccination rate is pretty high in sports. Yeah. So what we do know, right, is that getting vaccinated kind of helps lessen the symptoms. Who knows what it would be if there was a bunch of unvax players out there? They might get a little sicker.
Guys showing fake vax cards. Yeah, don't have to be showing vax fake.
Well, we all knew that was going to happen.
Guns. One of the things that's also lucky, though, about this Omicron is it seems to be way less severe, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because it's obviously way more transmissible, so we see more cases. But luckily, it doesn't seem to be as severe. So, that's one positive thing. Go ahead.
All right.
It's a great thing. If you want to get it and get some antibodies, you want to get this. It's from what I'm hearing. This is the one you want to get, right?
So let me just run down top 5 in Eastern, Western, then we're going to move into our baby, the NFL. So Eastern right now, we got at the top, we got Bulls sitting at 1, Nets at 2, Bucks at 3, Heat at 4, and Cavs at 5. On the Western side, we got Warriors at 1, Suns at 2, Jazz at 3, 4 Grizz, and 5 Nuggets. So
hey, where'd you say Philly? Where'd you say Philly was?
Well, they're probably 7 or 8.
Not on the list. Okay,
it's probably 7 or 8 now. They're not. I couldn't fit them in on the list this time because they weren't quite there. Right, just pushing on the door.
I have a
Bulls fans have been quiet since D Rose. Let them go ahead and have this. Go ahead.
Okay, that was my question. We all have expressed how we feel about the Bulls. I wanted to get your take on what you think
Gunz's
and if
take
they
on the
are
Bulls.
for real.
Yeah. You think the Bulls are for real this year, Gunz?
No. I just can't. I don't.
I mean, they went on. They got Vooch. They got DeRozan. They got Lonzo Ball. Who else?
Oh,
Oh, they
yeah.
got Killa
Levine.
Caruso. They got Killa Caruso, a 6-man, good 6-man. They
Zach.
got depth. So
They got good. They got good players, but
right.
I mean, you're big is nah. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, the one thing that I will admit, we do need a big defender, and losing Patrick Williams was a big loss. And hopefully he'll be back for playoff time. But I don't like going up against a team like with Giannis, or I will say the Sixers with Embiid or something like that, because Vooch can't defend that, and we don't have a guy who can go and defend the other team's big and stop it. So that would be the one thing. There's a couple matchups I don't like, but I think the Bulls win a playoff series or two, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are very even to like, I'm a Blazer fan, how the Blazers are built. Like, you got some really good players, really good guards, but you don't have that big defensive presence. You don't have that Rudy Gobert sitting there,
Well, I watched the who did we play last night? Or the other night, Balls. They scored like almost like 90 paint points against us. It was stupid. Every single bucket was a layup. Every single one. It was ridiculous.
Well, that's going to be that game plan now for every team out there that's got bigs and got guys that can make layups when it comes playoff time. They got that little game plan in place, unless you go and grab some
now
guys.
That I talk some smack to Nate, Embiid will probably face the Bulls in the playoffs, and then we'll be screwed.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on into the baby. First topic I want to touch on. He made our thumbnail because I asked Gunz who his playmaker was, and he said Antonio Brown. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about Antonio Brown. Obviously, people are saying it's childish what he did. Obviously, it looked childish to me as well. People are saying, what in the hell? What is he thinking? We're wondering, why does he do this? Why does he leave a team like this that probably is going to make a run, could possibly be in the Super Bowl again? There's something more going on there, man. He's got some mental issue that he needs. I think he needs help with. I think he needs addressed. I've seen other people stress that on social media. We're not doctors. We're not analysts. I get that. But what do you guys think? What the hell? What's going on with him? I mean, this isn't the first time he's done some weird shit. Just dips out on his team out of the middle of nowhere.
I got a lot of buddies that are Steelers fans, and a few of them have told me that he was a diva in the locker room long before the hits, the hits. And so I've always just took that face value, listening to them. And then last night I was on Twitter talking to somebody, and they were talking about the hit. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and look at timelines. Let me see when the hit happened and when everything else happened. And you know what? When you start digging into it, all the weird stuff that he has done has literally came after 2017. All the notable things that you remember hearing about have come after 2017. Like that, right. It must have did something. It had to knocked his marbles loose or something. But here's another thing, though, is that we were all like, "What the hell's going on? Da da da. How can he walk out like that?" And then come to find out, he's saying his ankle hurt. He was saying that he wasn't going to be 100% out there, and the coach told him that he was off the team on the sideline. So if you tell me I'm off the team right there on the sideline, I'm probably going to take my shit off and walk out too. Like,
well, absolutely. I mean, I would do the damn. I would. So if somehow we can figure out if that comes out at some point, that's going to change everything on the look of this, right? Because right now there's so many people that don't think of it as like a mental health issue. Don't think of it as anything. They're just like, he's a damn clown. Look at the clown. What the hell is he doing? Acting like a kid.
Right.
But you're damn right, Gunz. If a coach tells me, if I'm not healthy and I'm saying, hey, look, I'm not 100%. I can't do this. I can't do that. And the coach says, you're off the team, like on the sideline to me, and no one else sees that shit. Yeah, I'm taking my stuff off and I'm leaving too. Why should I be with the team when you're telling me I'm off the team? So if that is true, wow, that changes the whole narrative of this whole situation, everything that went down. That's the first I heard about this. I haven't read into a lot of it yet, but that's the first I heard about this. So that's interesting.
If you look at how his teammates are talking about it, they know more than we do. Like if he would have really just walked out of the game when they were down, Tom Brady wouldn't be nice about it as he's talking about it. Like, I
Right.
think everybody knows what happened. Otherwise, people would be flaming his ass. You know what I mean? I would
Right.
be if he was on my team, you know.
Well, there was a lot of shit that stirred up too once that whole fake vax card happened,
Sure.
and they found out about that and the suspensions on that shit. So he was probably already in some mud, you know, with Mr. Coach. But if the coach really told him that on the sideline before he
Right.
was actually like pulling his shit off and doing that, that changes a whole lot, guys. That changes the whole narrative on the whole story. That makes
Well,
things. Go ahead, Balls.
Sorry. I've heard a few things too that he was skipping practices during the week as well. He skipped a video review just this week. That was a mandatory
Sure.
video review with the team. And then you talk about they have team physicians that the team physician's going to tell if the player can go. The team
Yeah.
physician said he could go. And what hurts Antonio Brown is lying about that vaccine card. Because if you're a head coach and your player's not showing up to practice, and then all of a sudden he's telling you, I'm not going into the game, my ankle hurts. When your physicians come over and talk to you and said, there's nothing wrong, he can go, then you're running into an issue. I honestly think Tom Brady, for what he did after the game, I think he really cares about Antonio Brown, and he
Absolutely.
realizes that something truly did happen. It just sounds like that relationship ran its course, and once Arians probably was like, Brady, I'm only going to do one or two more things. And I'm sure in that situation, he was just like, I'm done with it. If you're not going to play for the team and go in, I'll find somebody that'll
Right.
play.
Right.
And,
Sure.
you know, I know we all, and Jimmy, I'm so glad you brought up Zay Jones because he could have been somebody with a mental health issue that who knows what he did to get back to where he is. You know, one of the questions that I put in for our topics is, you know, the Raiders had another player arrested today. What
That's crazy.
are they doomed in Vegas? And what you're talking about
Yes.
is the NFL, and Jeff, you brought it up like a personal assistant. We need to see more resources put into that side of it for the teams. We need to see more of that. And even if it's not, they can publicize it and let it be their little PR stunt, which I think is
Right.
kind of bogus.
Right.
But if that's what the league wants to do to get behind something like that, let them do it.
right.
And that's where the league, multiple teams failed Antonio Brown before he got to this position. Multiple teams did. He failed
Right.
himself, but multiple teams failed him, and the league failed him ultimately, I think, too.
Well, let me
Go ahead,
interject
Gunz.
real quick and say, you know, when it comes to like the Zay Jones thing, you know, it's not like if you have mental health issues, they just disappear.
Right.
You get the right people around you, and then you have to have somebody who's got to be willing to want to address the issues, or they have a problem or want to change. You know, not only do they have Zay Jones, who they've helped deal with, but, you know, you got Waller, who's had his own issues as well, who is a squeaky clean as far as we know now. You just got to have the right people. That's number one. But then you also have to have the mindset that you want to do well. You know, the Raiders brought in Brown, and Derek Carr opened his front door and brought him into his home. And you can call me, I'm here for you. And you see how Carr is with Ruggs. Like, that's legit. That's real love. And I guarantee he threw that out to Brown as well. And we saw what happened there. So this is somebody who just doesn't want to change. I mean, what did he put on his Twitter after an hour after the game?
Super gremlin.
Super gremlin like that. Like, come on, bro.
But again,
you know what I mean?
but again,
you're a demon now. Like, come on.
But again, we don't know. Like, we are not him. You know, again, you talk about that hit, man. You talk about that hit in 17, and things just haven't been the same. Like, he could have some severe fucking, what is it called? Is it CT or CR? Yeah,
man.
I mean, like the shit that most of these players get over time just from playing contact and just in general playing contact football, like Aaron Hernandez had. Like, You
Yep.
know,
So
most of you
that's
saw
literally-
that whole thing on Aaron Hernandez. Dude, I didn't know half of the story behind him until I watched that shit. I didn't know that he murdered, like they found out he murdered other people. Before. You know what I mean? Like what? No,
that was the
doesn't
first. That was the
excuse
first
anything.
thing. You know, that was the first thing I was going to bring up, and I'm glad you mentioned it, Def, because when the first antics started coming out, you're like, wow, okay, this guy's something's wrong. Like he's just immature would that be, I guess, a good way to say it,
Yeah.
not understanding responsibility. But the more and more stuff that have happened, I think there needs to be a level of general concern about his mental stability and if he's actually dealing with problems. And I have this weird feeling that whenever he passes away, hopefully it's a long time from now, we're going to see that the CTE that he had was very severe. It's some of the things we've seen with Aaron Hernandez. We saw with Junior Seau and all of his mental issues. We saw with Javon Belcher, who killed himself and his girlfriend. You know, a lot of these NFL players deal with a lot of issues, and a lot of them can be related to CTE. And so I know, Gunz, thankfully you looked up the timeline there of the hit, and everybody links it there because it's, the one event, but it's also every hit he took leading up to that. That could just be slowly chipping away.
Keeping it a buck, it's not just that hit. The guy's been playing since high school. His eggs have been scrambled, but that goes for every NFL player. You know what I mean? Every hockey player, every boxer, MMA person, like it goes all the way down the list. And
but it does affect everyone different.
Talk about football.
Yeah.
What's that?
But it will affect everybody differently. Like when they look into it and they like if they actually do a deep whatever on it, some are going to have way more impact than others, so that we got a lot of that to look at too, how much
humans in general have their own issues. You got certain people who can't handle certain things and people who can, people who are depressed, people who aren't. And it's not an anomaly. Like there's a whole lot of NFL players who have gone through some things, but not too often is it the number one wide receiver in the league that just all of a sudden, flashes out,
Yeah, it's
crazy.
I
think the most disappointing
thing
I think one of the most disappointing things, though, is we often relate, mental illness with weakness. And I wonder with someone who's been on top of the world as long as Antonio Brown has, it might be years before he ever admits that something's going on. And, it's unfortunate just the way the society is built right now that, people can't come out and be able to express that. And luckily, it's not something I've ever had to deal with, so I can't really relate to the issue.
Right.
But I want to hopefully support anybody that it's not weakness. It's you taking control of whatever, demons going on in your head or whatever issues you may be dealing with. And I hope whoever is dealing with that can come out and talk about it. And I wonder maybe if just it's been harder for him and being the spotlight of a professional athlete to come out and talk about it.
Like he has, it's like someone who has to be the tough guy, right? And has to stay tough image, even though they're fucking getting mangled inside their minds and their bodies. And they're just like, but I can't, I got to stay true. I gotta show on the outside that, I got this and nothing's affecting me. And then all of a sudden, boom, time bomb, boom, here you are. Now you're all over the place. But going back to the whole thing that Gunz touched on too. What's that? Go ahead.
We can't put it all on the player either. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's the system. And if you look at it, when you're a diva and you're that kind of person, that started happening in the 8th grade. That happened all through high school. That happened through college. Rules didn't apply to you.
Absolutely.
You were coddled. You were taken care of because of your skill or what you were able to do. And I don't care who you are. When you start getting treated like a king, you start feeling like a king, and then you start treating people like they're different, like they're less than you. And you see it with certain people, and you definitely see it when it comes to him. And it's too bad, man.
Yeah, man, it is. It really is.
Nate, what are your thoughts, bro?
My thoughts. I mean, shoot, like y'all pretty much just covered it. Is that? Yeah, I wish. Like,
how do you see it, Nate? Just in your own eyes, your opinion. We're not expecting you to be a doctor, like we aren't doctors, but like in your own eyes, how do you see it? How do you? Just what's your opinion on the whole situation with him?
So like when the video first came out, like the first thing I thought was like, what caused Antonio Brown's actions? Because he didn't randomly just walk take his jersey off and stuff like that and just left the field. It was literally something that had happened before. So That was really the first thing when I first saw the videos, like what happened before that. But yeah, with Antonio Brown, yeah, it's something that obviously like people bring up the hit from Perfect, but it's another thing like Jimmy said is that like when you're like pretty much get treated like a king, or when you're like putting up stats, like a lot of the issues go like I guess get pushed to the side, like as long as you perform for your team, as long as you putting up stats and everything, like a lot of like the I guess the negative stuff gets pushed to the side. So that like that kind of happened. And now once Antonio Brown, he's like bouncing from team to team, everything's getting brung up. So pretty much, and then also what Brady said, like hopefully people see mental health as like not as a weakness, it's like as a strength actually to be like, yes, I'm dealing with something. Yes, I'm not 100% right, and then like
I'm human.
Yeah, like we're human, like we all got
Like
issues. So
right.
And then I would definitely like to see the NFL hopefully bring like more resources instead of kind of like just like talking about it, actually be about it, actually being about like bringing more. It could be more therapists. It could be more counselors. I'm not sure how many like for each team, but like it has to be more. It has to be more
personnel.
Yeah, it has to be more personnel, more like therapists, counselors for like these for the players, even the staff. Like anybody that's going through something, like there has to be more resources because you see players get more rest. You see more. It's kind of like outlandish things going on. It's like
And to
like,
be fair,
the NFL has the money and the capacity to make it better. So
I hate taking the side of the NFL, and I'm not trying to do that. But they might be providing enough resources, but we just might not be aware of it. So
that's possible. Yeah, that's possible.
They probably are. Sure. That's the same with Henry Ruggs with him driving. They had people that you can call at any moment. Of course, they're not going to take care of it. But you know what? I will give the NFL players, even AB this. If I was filthy rich and had all that power, I'd already be dead or in prison. So the fact that he's still walking around, good
yeah,
on him,
in all the crap that he's like done and been about and done like in the last how many years, like since that hit, man. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. He's not honestly like locked up and shit because he's been doing he's been in the news and doing a lot of weird shit, and he's still for him to even make it back into the league. In all honesty, because it seemed like he had pretty much wiped himself away from the NFL at one point to even get himself back in. What's that?
Him and Josh Gordon.
Yeah, Josh Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon's back.
But again, it goes back to that nothing's going to change unless they want to, unless the person wants to. You can give people all the resources in the world.
It's like an addict.
You can drag the whole water, but you can't make them drink.
It's like an addict. It's like an addict addicted to anything. If they want to change, they have to want to change. You can't force someone to do it. You can do interventions and bring them there and drop them off or push them through the door, but they're just going to play off and they're going to do what they need to do to get out the door so they can use again. Because that's not what their mentality is. That's not they didn't decide that. They didn't want that.
But also like another thing is that like Antonio Brown, like Josh Gordon, like they begin like main chances to do it, so they're gonna continue to keep doing the actions because they're like, all right, I know I'm gonna get a chance from a certain team. Like they ever had a chance to hit like rock bottom, like dad, like I'm out of the league, I got no more chance. So it keep getting like the teams be like, yeah, I'll pick you up, I'll pick you up. They're gonna keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's
like
a
cycle.
They're cutting it. They're pretty much cutting the whims now. I would be shocked if somebody goes out and picks them up. But
no,
we'll see. And I don't. Again, maybe there's more to the story. We still don't have all of everything, and maybe there's more reasoning of what all went down and how it happened. One thing
Gregory was still in the league forever. Alden Smith got picked up multiple times. Yep. Somebody's gonna pick up baby.
Yeah.
Somebody will give him another contract.
Right.
Please believe it. He will have a star on the side of his helmet to start the season next
Dallas.
He will
be.
He will be a Dallas Cowboy.
He'll be a Cowboy. All right. So Jamar Chase was Nate's playmaker. As I let him know who your playmaker was earlier with that 11, 266, 3 TDs. I wanted to touch on something here, and I wanted to kind of get an opinion from all you guys. on who you would rather have. So I got the stats between Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow here, where they're at right now through their deal here. So let me just
And
tell you this.
Roethlisberger touchdown.
What's
Big Ben
that?
touchdown.
Big Ben
Ben
touchdown. Nice.
Yeah,
What's the score?
See how it goes.
7-0.
I don't know. It just popped up.
Oh, all right. So sorry, here we go. Justin Herbert, 67.1 percentage, 4,394 yards, 33 TDs, 14 interceptions. Burrow's got about 80 attempts less. He's at a 69.9 percentage. He's at 4,165 yards. He's got 30 TDs and 14 interceptions. So he's got a couple touchdowns less. He's about 80 passes short of what Herbert's got. He's got a better completion percentage, but again, he's throwing less and he's got a little bit less yardage, but he's got 3 less TDs, same amount of interceptions. If you were to go in right now and you were starting a franchise and you could either have Herbert or you could have Burrow, who are you taking and why? Anyone can start this.
Burrow.
Why?
Not because you face Herbert twice a year currently.
Stop it. So here's something that you're missing out, and I pulled their stats up too right here. So Justin Herbert's only been sacked 28 times. Burrow's been sacked 51 times.
Right.
So that's kind of showing you what they have to deal with while they're doing this at the same time. But I mean, Burrow's a guy, he popped up and threw 500 yards a couple of weeks ago.
He threw almost 500 again this week.
Okay, right. And so let's look at this. So the guy comes out as a rookie and he's killing, and all of a sudden he tears his leg up. Yeah, I mean, you know what that does to a young rookie?
Oh,
and for him to come back like that and he's playing at this level again, that's salute that man. That's
I agree.
I take Burrow.
I'm a fan.
Think my heart's just there, and that's tough because I'm a Duck fan. So,
right.
But yeah, I want to say Burrow.
All right. Anyone else? Brady, Nate, Brady.
Do I get their wide receivers too? Because if so, Burrow.
Well, Herbert's got about just as good at receivers. Let's be honest. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
Nah, give
one
me
of the most underrated wide receivers.
Nah, they're good. No, I don't have a preference. I don't really have a preference, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Here's the next thing. Here's the next thing I want to touch on, and I want to ask, and I want to get you guys' opinions because I've been going through this a little bit with some people just in the NFL worlds and whatnot. And I want to gear more on the defensive side of this team. I want to ask you guys I want to have a debate and talk a little bit about the Chiefs and their defense. And I want your honest opinions on what you truly feel about the Chiefs defense. Okay, they just got lit up for almost 500 yards by Burrow, right? Are they were playing well. Some said they were like one of the top 7 ranked defenses in the last, I don't know how many weeks. I want to know right now, season long though, like we're going into it, we're looking at this as a through the year deal. Is the Chiefs defense legit? Is it really legit? What do we think? What's it takes? What's your guys' opinions on this?
I'll probably say the Chiefs defense is. I mean, like in Spurs they could play well, but I think overall they're not that good of a defense. I think like when they had like that stretch where when limited in 14 points or less per team, I don't think they really played an impressive offense really for the most part. I don't believe. Right. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure they played many great offenses, but yeah, that Bengals game, Jamar Chase caught a slant, is dusted everybody, and then he went another deep play touchdown. So yeah, the defense definitely can get burnt over the top, but yeah, I don't think the defense is that legit.
Well, I'll throw some quick stats out there for you.
Oh, there you
I know
go.
how much everybody really enjoys those.
We like the numbers.
The weeks that they played and were holding teams, they played Green Bay, who was without Aaron Rodgers. They played Vegas twice, and I will refrain comment on Vegas for Jimmy's sake. They played Denver.
Yeah, I got some stats coming up next. You keep going.
And and then they played New York. So the one offense they played that was good. They did beat Dallas 19-9. So that's a decent offense they limited.
Okay.
But they weren't there. I mean, that 5 or 6 game stretch, and I know we talked about previously on the podcast, there wasn't anybody insanely good offensively that they played.
Right.
So, to be seen,
Right.
I guess. Go ahead, Gunz.
Gunz. Give us the numbers.
I want to go back to the Burrow thing, and somebody said that they would choose Burrow, but do they get the wide receivers? Who said that?
Brady.
Brady said that. That's kind of it's kind of ironic though, because you got Herbert you got Burrow has 4,611 yards. Mm-hmm. You got Chase who has 1,429 of those. Yep. The entire yards for all of the Bears quarterbacks put together is 3,310. So if you add Chase's yards to that, you guys might also be 10-6. So that's kind of, I get that right there.
Oh,
thanks,
boy.
Jimmy. Thanks, Jimmy. We both won this weekend.
Oh, buddy. No problem. And I can only say that because I got Carr who has more yards than Burrow. So. No wide receiver.
I look at it this way. We all know all that Chiefs defense has to do is take the ball away a couple times and give that offense a short field. Now we're talking, the big thing is them losing this weekend, and that Tennessee Titans team is going to punch you in the mouth, and they're going to play physical football. They're the 1 seed, and by no means do I think that they're winning a Super Bowl, but I still think the fact that Kansas City might have to play that first week, and who do you get that first week? Who are you playing week 1 of the playoffs?
The Raiders.
Coming in.
The Raiders.
Well, then that's a win. But but you're talking an extra week of football, which matters. You know what I mean? That matters. Wild card teams, I don't know the stats on it, but I'm sure they're not representing in the Super Bowl that often. You're more likely to be a 1 or 2 seed. And now since we've added the extra game, that really – it's got to kill those wild card teams that have to play that first weekend. And we're talking, do they play? The NFL is doing something new this year. They're substituting in a Monday night game for wild card weekend. Do they play how's their schedule changed? That matters when it comes to the playoffs. So
Balls, I know you can continue on. I just want to throw this in here while you're on the topic of the Titans. I know you'll appreciate this because I know you're a big Pat McAfee guy. Did you see it today? Did you see today when they showed the video of the Titans locker room after the game?
Mike
and they said how special this is. Like, look at this team. Like, this team in this locker room right now looks like they won a fucking Super Bowl or they're winning. They already won a playoff game. Like, he's got this team. They all love each other. They're fucking fired up. They're firing on all cylinders. Like, yeah, they're going to be a tough team.
Vrabel's coach of the year. I think they said they've either had like 88 players. It was either 88 players on their roster throughout the year, which is incredible, that have played at least sometime, or it was like 56 starters. They're a team that's been getting hammered by COVID. And we're talking now the Tennessee Titans, but don't look. They're probably going to get, if they get that bye, you're getting a fresh Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's going to come back for the playoffs by the sounds of it. And if they get him back with that defense and that way the offensive line's playing, teams are going to be in trouble because that ain't no let's play finesse and let's score points. That's we're going to punch you in the fucking mouth. And we're going to do it for 4 quarters because that's what our coach would do to your coach if he had the opportunity.
Right.
I really like that team. I don't see too much out of them in the playoffs, but if they get that 1 seed,
right,
man, that's huge for the Chiefs to lose that, in my opinion.
How does the IR work exactly? Because you got Henry talking about coming back to practice this week. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to make it for this game. I can't see that happening.
He's got a 21-day window after they designate him to return. So once they designate him back, he can come back within the next 3 weeks or something like that.
So in theory, Jimmy, we're talking next weekend would be weekend 1, 7 days. If they get that bye, then you're bringing him back on that 21 day if he can go. And he's going to be fully rested, and he's not going to have the wear and tear of a normal season maybe. We might see Derrick Henry at possibly his best right now.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Well, here's what you do is, you got him who's coming back, and you know who he could be, but you know who they have right now in Foreman. And I brought up Foreman to deafness when he was doing his Sunday morning things. But looking at his stats, he was rushed 26 times, 132 yards. Had a crap game before that, but the game before that, he was 22 for 108. 2 games before that, 19 for 109. Like, he's getting it done as well. So do you take away that hot hand?
Well,
I mean, you almost have to if you got Derrick Henry. But,
it's a good point.
You know what you do? You put them both in the fucking backfield, and you throw off.
God, that'd be dirty.
You throw off.
You give Derrick Henry, 16 carries and let him get.
Yeah.
Give him a work share together. Give him a work share together, especially maybe that first week. And
I'm going to tell you, Foreman must be working out with Henry, because I don't remember Foreman being that big. But when you watch Foreman out in the field, he looks like he's Derrick Henry, like size-wise. And Henry's huge.
Foreman was supposed to be big. He got injured,
big,
right?
But
he got injured.
He looks like Derrick Henry size now, like when he's on the field. Like he does, like they're working out together. Like they live together. They're roommates, and they just eat and sleep weights and fucking.
And they're probably working out with their head coach.
Right. Yeah, they're probably working out with the head coach. The head coach is probably getting them all ramped up, like he's still back in the game. Like, let's go, like craziness. All right, guys, it's time for the MVP talk. We do this every week as another week goes by. Who is at the top of your MVP list right now? You can go in any order. I don't care who it is. Give me your 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 if you want. Who do you like? Who's in the talks and why?
Well,
you go to someone else. I'm gonna look up past winners. I want to see what the other years have been.
I'm gonna start also. I'm gonna start. I guess we're gonna do like top 3.
Yeah. You can do 2 or 3. It don't matter. However you want to do.
I'll do 3. I'm gonna start third. Third, I have Cooper Kupp. 2, I probably gonna go with 2. Yeah. 2, I'm gonna go with Tom Brady. The number 1 is that one quarterback that happens to play for that team in Wisconsin. That was number 12.
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, old cheesehead. My secretly favorite team. Love you, Balls. Love you, buddy. All right, Balls.
2's Brady. 3 is Jonathan Taylor. Those are my top 3.
Who's number 1, Neo?
Yeah.
I ain't saying it.
Aaron Rodgers.
The 1. You can just call him the 1.
He's finally on my side. I thank you.
Well, I saw a stat today that said something like his last 12 games against the NFC North, which, mind you, he plays the Bears and the Lions out of that group. Yep. He played them 4 times, the Vikings 4 times, and he put up like 46 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. The guy, since he's been on a fuck you tour. Ever since all that stuff came back and they made him to look like a bad guy, he does not care. He's playing for that team. That team's fed into it. I hate him. I hope they lose a painful death in the playoffs. But he's the MVP, and fuck him. I'm done.
All right, Brady.
I'm still in denial, so I'll go Brady 1.
Still in denial.
Rodgers 2, and I'll go Burrow 3.
Right.
My only thought process was missed a week because of Jordan Love, and does he play next week? It's 2 games, but
yeah, that's true.
And they have the ones he locked up, so what's the point of putting him out there?
Right. All right, I'll give Jimmy a little bit more time. I'll do mine. So you already know who I'm going to say. 1.
Kirk
12.
Cousins?
No. 12. The man, Aaron Rodgers. 2 is going to be Brady. And you know what? I kind of like that whole Burrow thing at 3. He's not really going to get there, but he's just made a hell of a run. He's freaking doing awesome. Those guys are the AFC South champs. Like, it's crazy.
Now, can I ask a question, Jimmy, too, or Brady? One of you guys can look this up. We're saying Burrow's having a really good year. Where is that in comparison to, like, Patrick Mahomes? I know Mahomes has thrown quite a few picks, but I just want to put that in comparison to see where they're standing at.
We could do that. We could go to
I haven't looked at a head-to-head on them yet, but if I'm answering the MVP thing, number one, I'm going to have to take Cooper Kupp off because the argument could be that Stafford went there. Not to mention that we have had Jerry Rice in the league.
Right.
We have had Randy Moss. We've had some amazing wide receivers, and no wide receiver has ever won the MVP in the history of since they've been doing it.
That's cool.
It is not going to be Jonathan Taylor, even though he's had an amazing year. I mean, the record just doesn't call for it. There is absolutely no way that they're going to let Rodgers win it this year. I think that the NFL is far too woke to allow him to win it. I bet you that it ends up being something that shifts to Brady, or they decide to give it to the young Burrow, especially if Burrow goes kind of, if he has another game next week or this coming week like he's had. I think there's a good chance, but I bet you that the NFL does not allow Aaron Rodgers to have it this year. I'll bet you.
I can respect that. It'd be hard. It'd be interesting to see what actually does happen. You know what I mean? Like we're all in the dark here. We're all just taking our shots and our guesses.
Yeah, like I'm actually curious though.
What do you know? 138 yards or 138 catches, 1,829 yards, 15 touchdowns. That is insane.
I wonder, like what's the last player to actually win the MVP in back-to-back years, though?
Last player.
Yeah.
Last time has Brady won it back-to-back ever in his career? Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, Mahomes has. Yeah.
They got no. They got him. No. My bad. Nope.
I was gonna say I don't know if it has been done.
Did Brady?
Wow.
Peyton's done it.
Peyton Manning, 2009, 2008. Peyton Manning's done it twice.
Yeah.
Also 2003 and 2004.
Okay, so here's your comparisons.
Favre won 3 in a row.
Here's your comparisons on Patty Mahomes and Joe Burrow right here. Okay, so
Favre didn't win 3, did he?
Attempts. Mahomes has got about 100 more pass attempts than Burrow. The completion percentage, Burrow's at 69.9. Mahomes at 66.1. Patty's got him in yards, 42.99 to 41.65. But again, he's throwing about 100 more passes. Yards per attempt, 8.7 for Burrow, 7.4 for Mahomes. TDs, Mahomes got him 33. He's got 30, but again, he has almost 100 more passing attempts. Interceptions, he's got 1 less, but again, he's throwing 100 more passes. And again, you go back to like what Jimmy even brought up. That's an interesting stat to look at. How many times one's been sacked? He's been 47 times, and Mahomes only 27. So he's been sacked 20 more times, which shows you the type of line he has and what numbers he can put up, being basically pressured and shit. The hell, a lot more than Mahomes has been. So, yeah.
And I'm not trying to knock Burrow. I just, we're saying it's a down year for Mahomes, but Burrow is having a great year, and I don't think that's a knock on him at all. I wanted to see where they stood against each other because.
No, I think it's good. I think it's interesting. I think it's good to talk. I mean, that's what we should be doing. We should be going over things, comparisons, numbers, right? That's why we're here, to talk players, talk plays, see where people stand and where they're at. So, all right. So here's what I want to know next, guys. I want to know what's your AFC championship and NFC championship games look like, your two teams in your AFC and your two teams in your NFC, realistically, and then I want to see what your Super Bowl teams are. Anyone can go first. You don't have to go in any order. We don't have to go around the horn. I just want to hear it from everybody.
I don't know. I have not a clue. I mean, you got a lot of teams that are playing really well this year.
You do. I mean, as of right now, where are you?
I'll put it this way then. Can anybody beat – I know we can say Tampa Bay. Anybody outside of Tampa Bay, does Dallas really stand a chance going into Green Bay? Who is going to beat Green Bay locked up in that 1 seed? Deafness, you were there last night. That weather was cold, and that isn't even the cold days in Green Bay.
No, that was warm. That was warm.
That was a relatively nice day in Green Bay there, and it was still freezing.
Yeah.
Who's going to beat Green Bay in the Super Bowl? I know who's going to beat Green Bay in the Super Bowl.
Who's that? The Raiders?
Don't laugh. It ain't funny. Don't laugh. That's rude.
Maybe.
That was just rude.
Hey, wait a minute, though. Hey, can we rewind the tape a little bit, like earlier when Jimmy was bashing his quarterback?
Now he's going to get him, not only win next week or tie somehow and get them into the playoffs, but then he's going to win a Super Bowl.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Anything. Hey, any given Sunday, right? We've seen some crazier shit happen throughout even the season. Jesus.
So is anybody on Tampa Bay? It's clearly Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Is anybody going anywhere else? Nate, I know you love Philly. That Philly plus 380. That when I got Philly at plus 380, told everybody a while back.
Dude, I don't know, man. The Rams have played flat the last 3 weeks, but I'm still thinking they could have something in them, man. I think this is kind of a keep them off the radar type shit, and then they're gonna come back and fucking fire back on all cylinders. I don't know.
Stafford has to play better. He has to play better. It's been bad.
Oh, absolutely.
And it would be interesting because Stafford's played against Green Bay enough that he's played in some of these cold weather games. It'd be an interesting little look at how he did in those games late in the season and how he played, because Stafford always had played well against Green Bay. I'll give him that.
I think the Cardinals have just gone completely crap. Like, they're just – I mean, where did they go? They were like one of the hottest teams in the NFL like 5-6 weeks ago. Up till then.
Cardinals?
Yeah. And then they just fell flat on their face.
Last year, they started off hot, then they just like collapsed at the end of the season. I don't know why.
Man. Makes no sense.
But, I mean, for the NFC, it has to be Green Bay and Tampa. I mean, because the Rams, it depends on the average play. The Cardinals, we don't know which Cardinal team will get. And then, I mean,
Brady goes to Green Bay for the NFC Championship.
Yeah. You think the cold bothers him?
Huh?
You think the cold bothers Tom Brady? No, I don't think so.
No. I'm not saying that, but he's got to go win in Green Bay.
Yep.
He'll be fine.
I don't know. It's tough. I know that's your boy and that's your goat, but. And he is. We can't deny that, but I don't know.
Is Mike Evans going to remember how to be a wide receiver all of a sudden? Like, who is Brady really going to go to the championship game throwing to? He just lost. Like,
he's got Gronk.
AB's gone. Godwin's just had surgery. Gronk's 100. Like,
Gronk's
that would
healthy.
be amazing if he made it.
Tyler Johnson.
Amazing if he made it.
Hey, Tyler Johnson, dude's a baller. Former Gophers, Ski-U-Ma. Shout out Gophers. We'll see. All right, well, let's talk more on the AFC side.
I have a question. I got a question for Gunz, quick.
What's up?
Okay. Are you convinced Derek Carr can take you to the promised land, and 2, are you willing to commit to him for another 5, 6, 7 years?
Oh, I would. I don't know if I'd commit for like 7 years. Is a long time, bro. That's a very long time. But he's not a runner. I mean, look back. Who has he ever had to throw to, man? Whenever he's had somebody to throw to, he's done well. He's turned Waller into arguably the second best tight end in the league, probably conservatively the third best tight end in the league. When he's had Ruggs, he's been able to get it to him. This man has had nobody to throw to. This goes all the way back to when we had Cooper and Crabtree. When you have two wide receivers who lead the league in dropped passes, that means the ball hit them in the fucking hands. That means they were catchable balls that his wide receivers are dropping. I mean, he's got a wide receiver right now, and Renfro's got 99 catches for 1,025 yards and 7 touchdowns. But he's too little to be that goal line threat. Who has Carr had to throw to? You look at these. Okay, look at the quarterbacks with the most yards: Brady, Stafford, Herbert, Carr, and Burrow. Now, ask me a question: if you put Carr on any one of those teams with any of their running backs and wide receivers, would Carr be better than the 4th best quarterback in the league yards wise this year? He's throwing to Zay Jones, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
What more could he do? He can't throw it, catch it. David Carr is not going to come out of retirement and be a wide receiver for baby brother. Like, I don't know what more this guy's supposed to do.
I agree.
And I thought that was.
I appreciate you guys agreeing. Thank you. Yeah. Carr. Woo.
That was one of the things. We always heard about the NFL and quarterback play. Once we lost, we're talking Ben Roethlisberger. Once we lost Eli, Phillip Rivers, we're gonna lose Brady, Rodgers. The NFL's in really good hands with these young quarterbacks right now. And I would even put Carr as probably one of the older guys in that group. I would love to have before we drafted Justin Fields, I got to ride with my guy. But if we would have went after Derek Carr and got him somehow, I'd have been completely happy with that move. The guy is clearly, I think, a top 12 quarterback. Now, if they sneak in the playoffs, can he go to Kansas City and win a game? Maybe.
Yes.
I mean,
if a team is going to upset Kansas City, brother, it's going to be the Raiders. All you have to do is look back at history. We've won games against them that we should not have won. We should not have won, and we got out of there with the W. So, in fact, we would have swept them last year if it wouldn't have been for the refs. Bullshit call at the end of the game in the 4th quarter that stopped the clock. We would have swept them last year. So, I'm just saying.
See, and I guess my thing would be, it would depend if the Raiders got in, who their matchup is that first week. Because if there's a shift in the seeding the next week, we're talking, do they play Tennessee? I can see them upsetting Tennessee, but it all depends on their matchup. I think if we're looking at AFC, if I'm taking a team, I think they were the best team all year. Even though they went through these spurts, their run game concerns me big time, but they've used their quarterback. I think I've got to go Buffalo. I just like the way they play. I think they're physical enough on defense to match up with everybody. And they've got a quarterback that can put them in any type of position to win, whether it's with his legs, with his arm. I really like Buffalo. So if I had to lean, and I think Deafness, this was yours, I'd probably lean Green Bay Buffalo right now.
Yep.
That
was my Super Bowl picks last week. Yep. When we did this. Schmo, shout out to Schmo. He's a real one. The Kansas City defense scares no one.
Nobody.
I'm sick of the Kansas City's defense is tough and good and all that talk. I don't know. I haven't heard it here. I haven't heard it from anyone here on this panel, and I don't know. The ones that are saying that I think are just really true Kansas City fans, which I can appreciate the hominess for them and being a big believer in the team, but sometimes you got to be a realist too, right? Like you got to know, like
now Don't get me wrong. Their offense is scary as shit. You never know if you can't score upwards of 40 points. Your defense being trash, whatever. You're not going to beat them. If you can't score up in the upper 30s, you are not
100%. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Their offense is no joke. No joke.
Right.
So I gave you guys my matchup. Now give me yours, Nate, and then we'll go Deafness, Jimmy, Brady.
Okay. For the NFC,
just go Super Bowl. Like one represent AFC and NFC. Yep, Super Bowl. So your Super Bowl match. Who you think?
I think I still go mine, as I said before. I'm gonna go Green Bay, Kansas City.
Wow. Okay. Nice. I like it. Brady?
I'll do Buffalo, Tampa.
Buffalo, Tampa is riding Brady. Gunz?
Green Bay and Las Vegas Raiders.
Woo!
Telling you, I know you guys are silly. Listen, I know you guys are looking at me serious. If I had some aluminum foil here, I'd put it on. There are different things at play that lead me to believe that that's what's going to happen. And I think the Raiders are going to make it. I really do. I'm going to
do Green Bay, Buffalo like I have been speaking, but I may be like, the Patriots, maybe. Could be a Green Bay Patriots thing too with the rookie Mac Jones. That'd be insane, wouldn't it? A rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl. I don't know. So, all right, guys. I think we're good. Anything else you guys want to touch on the NFL before we move on into some hobby talk?
I do have one more thing I want to touch on real fast. And
go for it.
And I'm just going to say it just because it's Carr. When I was saying doesn't have any goal line threats, and we were talking about Mac Jones earlier.
Yeah.
A goal line threat is somebody like Hunter Henry, okay, who on here has 41 catches and 9 touchdowns. Yep. When you are scoring at a clip of 20% of your catches and you're under 50 catches and you're racking in 9 touchdowns, that is a game changer. That is something that every quarterback needs, but it also goes to show how good Mac Jones is, how poised he is in the red zone right there. But to have somebody like that, Hunter Henry, 41 catches, 9 touchdowns.
And look at another stat too. Check and see how many rush yards Mac Jones has and how many he's thrown for. That tells you how much of a pocket presence passer he truly is. How he stays in the pocket and will take a blow and still develop, still hit the pass and still hit it on. And his completion percentage ain't too bad. So. It's interesting, man. The kid that apparently wasn't too accurate in NFL Pro Scout Day or whatever it was, where he apparently dropped in the draft talk of when he would be drafted. So it's interesting talk, interesting takes. Appreciate you guys with all of it. So here's what I want to move on a little bit of hobby talk. Been some cool, exciting things pretty much happening in the hobby, like right to the start off the season. I know Gunz was in a fun little pack box battle war with Mr. Nodak. Shout out to our boy Nodak Rips. The dude's just insane. He's a monster. He's buying stuff all the time. I'm ripping shit for him at Triple Diamond all the time where I'm breaking. But I want to just kind of ask you guys, as we're all in the hobby here, all of us on this panel tonight, Gunz being a special guest with us as well, which we love having him here. What are some of your goals or main goals for 2022 in regards to the hobby in general? Like things you want to change with what you're doing in your approach with it, maybe things you want to focus on as far as collecting aspects, whatever it may be. What are some of your goals in the hobby for 2022? Anyone can start.
Yeah, I'll start this one. I actually started getting proactive about it today, and I started a little group chat with a couple buddies of mine on Twitter to try to come up with how to get it back. And it's not – so what I've noticed is that a lot of new people came into the hobby over the last couple of years, and the hobby changed greatly. The whole scenery of the hobby was different. Our backyard was still pretty close to the same, but I saw the scenery completely changed. And with a lot of those people now gone, there's got to be a way to get back to what it used to be. I'll let Boul say it. What's your quote?
Oh, what cardboard meets community, man.
100%. That's where I want to get back. I want to try to get that. I remember a few years ago, it was like life. It was like everything. That's where a ton of my joy came from. And over the past couple of years, I noticed I've been feeling that I've been losing that a little bit. And man, I want to get back to that because that was so fun to have the relationships that I've made, the things that I've done in this hobby. Too wonderful. And man, that's just what I want back. I want to try to build that again.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
I'm all for it. I'm all about it.
Did you see that
What's
comment? That comment you just posted?
Yeah.
Fanatics just acquired Tops.
Did you hear that? Did you guys see that? Did anybody read it? I'll put it up again.
Yeah,
30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
30 minutes ago, Fanatics has agreed to buy Tops out.
Yep.
So now they have Panini and
it was Panini they bought last time. I was just gonna say I thought they did that a long time ago.
So it's all
man,
Fanatics.
Upper Deck.
Yeah.
Upper Deck's next.
Upper Deck's got to find some way to get some licensing, but they're not going to be able to, probably from other sports, so they can do product.
Fanatics gonna have a monopoly on the hobby.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean,
it might not be.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, to have one company controlling what we know as two companies right now. I guess we'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens.
Who knows? Maybe I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they'll listen and hear that the biggest complaints with a lot of the places are redemptions, customer service, points in a product.
Right.
A lot of people don't want that. Another thing, I think if they can take those parts, maybe they're not going to stop Tops. They're probably just going to take Tops in. I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Probably,
that would be the thought.
Yeah.
So they're just coming in to invest and build it that way. They need to listen to the customers, and if they do that, they'll be set.
Yep, I agree.
Brady? Here's a hot take right here.
Go ahead.
It sounds like Fanatics is going to IPO here soon. So anytime an IPO happens, a lot of times, especially if it's got like backing Jay-Z and like some big stuff, they just got Tops at Panini. An IPO normally starts, it normally gets close to doubling, and then it tanks down below the IPO. So if you guys are going to buy into it, and I'm not an investor, this is just for fun.
Right.
If you guys are going to buy into it, make sure you get out when it's about 80%, and then buy back once it dips below the IPO. But I'm excited. I'm a stock kind of guy. I'm excited to see what happens there with that.
Well,
yeah. Brady, goals?
Yeah, goals. I am getting married in August, and therefore my collection is going to need to shrink a little bit. So I'm holding on to a lot of product that I'll move before then. I bought baseball boxes and stuff. I'll open it and sell some stuff that I am not going to want long term. But I'll probably focus on some higher end cards and do more quality over quantity. I know definitely when I first got into the hobby, I was in your auctions buying stuff all the time. The $250 cards, and I've slowly transitioned to like bigger dollar items. So I'd probably see myself continuing that way. I want to get in some higher end Cubs prospects because everybody who's of any substance in the organization is gone. So I might as well put some money into a bunch of 18-year-old kids that I don't know
prospects.
Yeah, players or not. Might as well do that.
Prospecting, that's where it can be at. You know what I mean? So, all right, who we got left? Gunz already said balls.
I would say I have two different things that I really want to do. One's hobby related, one's kind of hobby related, but my hobby related, I want to do more content. I don't really do it any of myself. Even if it's just recording mail days.
I like that.
I think I might do a little bit more of that. I used to do it in the past. Probably won't do anything live, but and then the other thing I've kind of mentioned to Deafness is I've started already. I don't even know the process of it, but I've started putting a lot of my thoughts about being a father.
This is cool.
To a special needs son. And just making, being a father and the struggles, and maybe not the struggles, that's not the right word, but the adversity and the circumstances
the experiences that come
the
with
experiences of being a father. And one of them that I really thought about was, and it's another part of the hobby that I do want to do. I think back to when, and Jimmy's awesome about it. He does a ton of it. He's got more coming up as well. When we do the charity stuff, and we did a charity auction, I think it was 2 years ago now, on Maddox's 6th anniversary of his heart surgery. Yep. And we donated all the money in his name to Mended Little Hearts. Yep. And I want to do something, even if it's a sale myself, where I can donate in his name again. But there's definitely going to be, I've been writing. It's not good so far, in my opinion, but I've been writing, and one of them I want to write about is that feeling, like Jimmy said, of community, and how the hobby, that really, it made me believe in a lot of people that we have in our group that I've never even seen their face before. And it brought back a lot of faith as the hobby's expanded and everything. That I said it earlier, kind of less is more. I think the people that I have in my group are the people that I want in my group. So, that's that would be my 3 things. Do more content, do a Mended Little Hearts donation in Maddox's name by selling cards, and then write a book with that chapter in it.
You guys heard it, a book coming from Balls, Dope. So I guess when I think about what my goals are going to be in 22 for the hobby itself, one is really to try to help continue to push and be more involved and be more active in helping build back the community that Gunz and myself are looking for, that we once had. And with that, continuing the consistency and the positivity that 21 brought, 20 brought, I guess you would say, when we really had that growth. And one thing that I think about and I look at is kind of how my auctions are, all right, I guess, when we do the quarter auctions and stuff. I haven't been as involved in getting into breaks or buying as much product as I once was, where I would always have so much new, fresh variety. Sure, I got plenty of older, past stuff that I can go through, which I don't ever have time to do to get out for auctions. But it's about sometimes having that fresh stuff too, to intermix, to get people excited, to get people in. Again, another way to help, I guess, build the community and get more people in, get more eyes on, get more people to find us. So trying to be more involved with product in some sense, whether it's I'm going out and buying lots and finding lots on Craigslist or maybe eBay somewhere, or it's buying into breaks more consistently, or buying boxes here and there more and ripping them, whatever it may be, to, I guess, widen that newer mix of variety with some of the older stuff to spice up the auctions, if you will. And then the last part of that, I think, with growing the community would be really that network side of continuing to do my part to try to network more, to get more eyes on more people, which in turn will hopefully come back to us and help build us a little bit more. Jimmy brought up the in-depths, bringing them back, and I said I was going to bring them back. I did one a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, I think now, and I got a little discouraged, I'm not going to lie, because we only had like 7 or 8 people live, and I think like 40 people watched it. And those are the types of things that I think Jimmy started that group, and we were kind of touching on a piece of that. It's not all of it. And it's not all about like, hey, we need 1 million views or we need 1 million people in our lives. That's not what we're sitting here saying. What we're simply saying is, at one time, our community was a huge, solid community, and we would have 40, 50, 60, 70 people in when we do something, when we do a live. And we just don't see that. We don't get that. And that's what we're trying to get back to. And I think Jimmy's hit on it as well. Like, there's people that have just shown up, just come in, and maybe it's the excitement of a different person, a different face, different views, different ways of doing things that gets people excited or into their ordeals or their streams or their auctions or their sales or their fundraisers, whatever it may be, whatever they're doing. And there's room for everybody in this hobby. There's room for more people, more creators. But man, I guess that's really just it, man. That's what I want to try to do. That's network, try to help get the community back with Jimmy and spice up the auctions a little bit more again, get them back to what they used to be. So that's where I'd land with that. Anyone else got anything else?
I know with me, what I really want to try to do this year is to try to get more involved hobby community. I've never been doing that like the end of last year, but I definitely want to do more this year. Probably try to get some more content as well. I know I already posted like a few like videos already, but maybe I could like try to do like more like local shows around me, or maybe to do like what's in my collection or what cards I might be trying to like look forward to. So content wise, and then also to try to get more higher end cards, try to get more like Brady said, more quality over quantity with cards. And then lastly, I might try to get more memorabilia. So maybe like signed helmet or signed football, signed jersey. Try to get maybe a few of those as well to try to diversify the collection. Yeah,
the PC. Increase the PC. So, all right. Well, you guys, anything else you guys want to touch on, discuss, talk? I mean, we're at about the 2 hour, getting close to the 2 hour mark, I think. You guys have given me way more than enough of your time. It's been
We're doing questions?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got to do the questions. Damn, that's right. Forgot about that. Just got to add the screen share back. Kind of forgot about that. All right.
I think a lot of questions, don't we, this week? That's all.
Yeah, we got, some of it's just comments and stuff, too, which I'll just read the comment, obviously. But
why don't you individually address like a question to like one or two people? That way we can.
Yeah. We're not going to go through like each and everybody's. All right, so I'm just going to go from top to bottom. So Shaw Racing collects. Hey, Deafness Nate, Brady, Balls. Hope you all had a great weekend and an awesome Christmas. Another great stream, guys. Lots of great topics. Thanks for doing this. Keeping us informed, entertained. Awesome. Eric says, Merry Christmas to all you guys. Love the podcast and the feedback. This week, I've heard some trade rumors regarding Matt Ryan going to the Steelers. Any opinion on that? In that situation, who would you predict the Falcons end up with? So why don't we just go with we'll start with Gunz. What's your take on that? Would you think Matt Ryan would be going to the Steelers? And if so, who you think the Falcons go after?
I don't know. I actually didn't hear any of the first part, so I didn't get a chance. I was like, please don't call on me first.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, so if we got to go to the Saints, who would they go after?
Steelers. You go the Steelers, and then who would the Falcons go after? Yeah.
Falcons. What's their record? What pick do they have? Are they even able to get something good to draft? You think?
Well, or just think. I would maybe not even go as much draft wise. I'd say maybe they're going to try to go after a quarterback that's already in the league.
Gosh, I don't know who's going to be free agents next year.
How about this, Jimmy? I got an interesting name I'll throw out there and help you out. Russell Wilson. I'd like to see. I don't know if Matt Ryan technically gets traded or anything like that. I don't think he's necessarily the fit for Pittsburgh. They've obviously got to look towards a young quarterback, but if they think they've got enough right now to win in the AFC North with that defense and some of the young talent they have, you may see him take a shot at a guy like a Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers had been rumored there for a while. He's not going there now. But I think Pittsburgh is going to make a splash more that way, or they're going to draft a quarterback. It's not going to be a trade for Matt Ryan. And then what are you going to do? Make Matt Ryan sit the bench? I don't think Matt Ryan wants to do that either. Right. So I don't think
so. The way the Steelers are set up, they kind of need a gunslinger.
Yeah.
They kind of need somebody who's going to toss that rock. That's they got a good amount of wide receivers. What about a Jameis Winston? Popped, and he's an undrafted free agent.
Wow, that's an interesting take.
He was showing some shine at the beginning of the year before he got injured. He was definitely showing that he was a better quarterback, and he was a 5,000-yard quarterback once upon a time.
All right. Crab legs. What about someone put in Gardner Minshew, Jay Schmo.
I mean for the Steelers, I don't see it. But I mean another name could be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Who?
Jimmy G.
Oh yeah,
he could be another name.
San Fran, that's another good one. Yeah, that's a good take right there. I like that too. A lot of great takes on this. That's why these are always fun, guys. That's why you guys need to leave these, because then we cover these on our opinions and how we see things. The Chewing Grounds podcast said, "I love the topics in the podcast. Glad I found you. Gonna tune in the next one. Keep up the great work. They just uploaded a new podcast on theirs." Brady says, "What was your favorite sports moment in 2021?" He said one serious moment and one hilarious moment from the year. So let's go balls and Gunz.
Maybe I should have read these questions before the podcast. I don't know. What was the best
just that comes to mind, or anything that comes to mind.
I'll give my answer quick.
God.
All right, let Brady go first.
Mine for sure is Michigan beating Ohio State for the first time in, probably a decade. Yeah, I was trying to think of one funny moment, but I'll go back to you in 2 seconds on that one because there's a couple.
All right.
Antonio Brown walking off the field, that was kind of funny, but they just said on Monday Night Football the Buccaneers didn't officially release him today. Very interesting.
There's maybe more going on. Maybe there's more behind it.
Go ahead, next question.
Okay. All right. If this is from Brady's dad, he's always a good supporter and always has comments, questions. If Rodgers wins the MVP,
wait, I got mine.
Oh, go ahead.
I remember
what
it was.
Go ahead.
It was that fourth quarter overtime. Jones catch against the Ravens. That one that just wasn't supposed to happen, and he just got behind everybody and yanked it down. Me and little Jimmy were watching the game right here. Had our jerseys on, had our helmets on.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna happen for sure. Right there.
I have my one hilarious moment for the year too. And it was when Javier Baez ran backwards from first back to home, and the Pirates couldn't figure out that they could just go step on first base and the inning would be over. I don't know if anybody else wanted to play.
Oh, I remember that.
They chucked it around the diamond and everything. That was my favorite funny moment from the year.
That's a good one. That's actually a really good one. That is a good one. All right, if Rodgers
wins, look that one up. I didn't even see that.
If Rodgers wins the MVP, do you see any scenario he's not a Packer next season? Nate and Brady.
I mean, if Rodgers somehow wins MVP, then he has to be back to Green Bay. I mean, I don't see him leaving unless something crazy happens in the all season or something like this dispute happens. But besides that, I'll see him come back next year.
I think anything short of a Super Bowl, he's gone. I don't know if he cares that much about winning MVP.
Wow.
I think if they've lost in a couple of championship games against the Brady last year and
the 49ers.
Yeah. So I think if they come up short again this year, I think he's going to go somewhere else and at least try to get to somewhere else. Whether or not he's successful would be interesting. He could threaten retirement and be done. Who knows?
I was going to say, Brady, if he wins, does he retire?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the scenario I would see him at, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, Jim F. Each week, you guys outdo yourselves. Steph, you assemble a great group of community, and I'm so glad I found you. I can't wait till baseball season to hear you guys' takes on the sport I actually follow, or if you guys learn NASCAR, LOL. Yeah, we'll have NASCAR when NASCAR's going.
Well, yeah.
Jim, you're gonna come on for NASCAR and be the
Yeah,
guest.
you are. Yep. Panette Ettinger says, enjoyed the show. Go Blue.
That's
This
my
was
grandmother.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. She's a fan. Hey, shout out to Brady's grandmother. We love you. Appreciate you.
Brady's grandmother. I'm sorry about my language.
Yeah,
Same.
Brady's dad. Brady's dad again. Is JJ the front runner to start at U of M next year? Is McNarma the next Joe Milton?
Yes. JJ will start at quarterback next year, and I would be surprised if Kane McNamara is here. He might stay because he's always loved Michigan, but I don't think he's a starter.
Right. All right. That's cool. We'll go with that. All right, our boy Minuteman Scott. Shout out Minuteman Tickets. That's who I got my tickets through for the game last night. He actually got through to me on Christmas Eve, and we did the deal on Christmas Eve. So he was working on Christmas Eve and got me those tickets for the game last night. So check out Minuteman Scott if you need a Minuteman tickets. He says, now that the 2021 fantasy football season is over, who are your top 5 running backs for 2022? This is a good question. Top 5 running backs for 2022 fantasy football.
In the order?
It doesn't matter. Just do just do 5. You can if you want, but
Like Taylor.
Yep.
Eckler.
Kamara.
Harris, especially without Roethlisberger, they're going to be leaning on him, right? Cook and Mixon.
Yeah, I'd maybe put Kamara in that discussion too. Because
Kamara's always that sneaky little whatever productive, but man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kamara with seeing Breeze gone now and seeing them lose like Winston, like that big pass, like having that deep threat. I don't know. It's just like, it seems like the teams just are so cued on, like, we need to just stop Kamara, like they're going to give the ball to Kamara. Like it's going to go to Kamara. I don't know. They gotta come out and get a better quarterback. Like I'm sure they're planning on doing and impose a better threat.
Did Gunz say Henry or did he skip Henry?
Derrick Henry would for sure be in that top 5.
Oh gosh, I'm an idiot. You're right. Who do we drop?
So we probably
Chubb?
I'd say maybe we drop Harris to like a 6, 7. Still in the top 10, but maybe a 6, 7.
I mean, we named a solid 8 to 10 right there. Those are probably the 8 to 10 next year, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Kratty's card. Shout out to you, buddy. He says, great stuff, fellas, and Happy New Year. Joe Mans, what are your thoughts on the passing of John Madden? Favorite memories or calls he made calling games? Man, I think anyone and everyone that's, been alive and is, I don't know, 14 years old, 15 years old, that's even been involved in any kind of watching football with their fathers, friends, whatever, and older, I think somehow could relate on the impact of what Madden had, to the NFL, coaching, friend, commentator. I mean, the whole 9 yards. I mean, like he said, he sleep, breathed, lived, ate football. I mean, football was everything. That was everything to him. And I mean, he showed it, what he brought to this, to the game, to the organization, will never be forgotten. So I don't know anyone's take on Mr. Madden in the passing.
Well, I think when you tell the story of football, obviously John Madden's name has to be included. And I was thinking about this. My dad grew up, John Madden was a coach. I grew up, John Madden was an announcer. And then when my kids grow up, they're going to remember the Madden football game. So for him to have that kind of impact on the sport, it just speaks to his legacy. originally he wasn't the first choice for Madden football either, which is crazy.
Right.
I think the NFL should rename, instead of being an all-pro, you're part of the all-Madden team.
Yep.
Just a
Ooh,
pretty
I like
cool
it.
tribute. I think that would be cool to see. So, I
Who
mean,
was the first choice for Madden football?
I want to say it was Joe Montana.
It would have been
I
a
mean, there
really weird game if Joe Montana was there and it said Madden football. That's all I have to say.
Well, it would have been Joe Montana football.
Of course,
Montana
it was a
football.
bad joke.
Oh, well, I'm
man.
terrible, Jimmy.
All right. All right. Yeah. So again, rest in peace, Madden, a legend.
Yeah,
You'll never be
that's a tough
forgotten,
one, man. That's a tough one.
Yep. Dizzy Dub, our boy K Dub, my dudes, love this. Keep him coming at Mr. K Dub. Check him out too. He does some videos and content once in a while. He's a good boy of ours. Nar, you at 78. Remember when Michael Jordan had the flu game? Should players now not be allowed to play with the flu?
The flu game, though, it was food poisoning, and Jordan's admitted it.
True.
He ate pizza he shouldn't have. It's just the name of it. Players should be able to play. We're all in agreement with that. As long as they can be safe about it, they should play.
All right, Bogarts, Sports Cards. Who is the most underrated wide receiver in the league right now?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna say Allen.
Who?
Keenan Allen.
Oh, you're just
I think he's been the most slept on, underrated receiver for like the past 4 years.
Gunz.
And that's
Gunz. I'm gonna say your boy Hunter Renfrow, who I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Hunter Renfrow, or even young in Chicago. I think Darnell Mooney's.
Oh yeah, Money Mooney.
Mooney's gonna have a big year next year. So
now, if you want to go off the last 2 weeks, my boy Braxton Berrios for the Jets. I talked about him yesterday morning or whatever day for the DFS talk. He scored like 26 or 24, 26 fantasy points, and he was under 1% owned. He was 0.5% owned in all the tournaments I had him in. Yeah, we won some money this weekend, boys. Chop it up, as we did last weekend. So y'all better come hang out Sundays and talk football with your boy. All right.
I'm not going to say Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Terry's
McLaurin? Scary Terry?
Yep.
All right.
Here's one.
Hey, Debo Samuel has 40 catches less than Hill, but more yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good – I don't think he's like – a lot of people are like he should be like towards talks of like with Cup and MVP and stuff. So it'd be hard to put him as like an underrated or underlooked player. But
here's a rookie name, Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions.
Oh yeah.
Rookie rankings right now.
Has no quarterback.
Jamar Chase 1 in yards, Pitts 2, Waddle 3, Devontae Smith 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown 5. He's never in that conversation with those other guys. And obviously Chase and Waddle are at a different level. But even Devontae and some of those names that you've seen, he's never mentioned. And he doesn't even have a quarterback. He's got Jared Goff.
He doesn't have a quarterback, period.
Tim Boyle.
Yeah, that's not a quarterback. He's a fucking grocery bagger. All right, let's move on. The Raiders had another player arrested today for DUI. Are the Raiders doomed in Las Vegas?
This is just for Jimmy. Are they doomed in Vegas, Jimmy?
Kind of talked on it earlier.
I would like to give them all the excuses in the world and be an enabler and be like, it's a tough place to be for a young person and and mistakes are going to happen. But, let's keep it funky. There's NFL teams in Miami, in, New York and LA and all kinds of places. So, yeah, I understand Vegas is a tough place to be. I lived there for 2 years, but they just need to get the right people in. They sit and they talk about how they want to constantly get in high character players. And then what we're hearing from rookies, Diablo, is saying that these players are coming into practices. They're fucking sitting down. They're not carrying, And I think they just got the wrong people. I think the wrong people are going to make mistakes and get weeded out, but it's definitely not everybody.
That's a great point, Jimmy. That's a great point because Miami has come out and stated that they've had to take that into their draft kind of criteria. Is can this player really be in Miami and deal with all that city is? And with Vegas moving so recently, I wonder if they're still trying to figure out what exactly that means of what a player can or can't deal with.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree with all that. All right. Care Bear. Carrie, she had a comment in this week. Talk about MLB lockout. So anybody want to touch on it real quick? MLB lockout?
I was reading an article today. No negotiations since the December ones. They're going to be meeting sometime in February, is what I heard. My guess would be players are going to hold out. You're going to see a shortened spring training, but not impact any games. That would be my guess. But from what it sounds like, the players, I think, maybe have more leverage in some of the recent negotiations, especially the COVID negotiations last year and the Players Association agreement with MLB then. It sounds like the players maybe have a little bit more leverage here, so that might be affecting negotiations coming up and how well they go over. So we will see. I'm assuming we'll have a lot more on that in the next, month or two when we get some more news. It's been pretty silent on the front of the MLB, to be honest.
Okay. Your dad back with another comment says, comment on Simon Biles being named Athlete of the Year for not competing. Your thoughts? Who?
This was the
Simone Biles, the Olympic
female gymnast.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, she pulled out for mental health
Isn't
issues.
she dating a pro athlete, a football player?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think like something from
They showed her in the reason why I know that is because I was watching a game and they were saying they showed her in the audience and said I forget who they said. She said she was dating somebody, player, NFL player at the game. She's at the game. Go ahead, boss.
Simone Biles, I think a lot of it has to do with the platform that she had and the awareness that she brought to the cases with the U.S. gymnastics coach assaulting females.
Sure.
She had the ability to stand up there where her voice, she's considered possibly the greatest female, gymnastics Olympian for the U.S. all time. I think it's more about how she used her platform to use her voice in a proactive way for a lot of people that, let's be honest, if she didn't say anything, we might not care as much if it's a lower level member or maybe even somebody that didn't make the team. That stuff, unfortunately, gets swept under. And I think that played a big role into it. She did still come back and compete and medal in a few events, but I think it has more to do with not only the mental health side of it and being an advocate for that, but being an advocate for all of those girls that really didn't have that platform or voice.
Yeah, I agree.
God bless her for bringing attention to it.
Right.
I agree a lot with that. My only concern would be it's a magazine celebrating athletic achievements, and it was this first time I think the magazine has identified something other than athletics, which would be the only thing that I would even think come to my mind. But I mean, there's no question that she used her platform for mental health. And I think the only thing that I think people were concerned about was there's a lot of other female athletes that were not very well known that had incredible athletic achievements this year that maybe didn't get the recognition. But I mean, at that point, it's who do you choose? So you can't go wrong either way.
Right. All right.
Now, you got a good point, though. You do have a good point.
All right. Joby Kenobi says, what's up? I'll come up with a question after today's football. And then guess what? He ghosted us. No question after that today's football. So good job. Shout out to you, Joby one. You're a real one. Nar U78. Just last comment says, can he get his credit from his wheel spin win? Because he was hitting it. This is right after he won last week.
He almost went back to back on him. DeMar DeRozan style.
I know. Well, between him and the other dude, that's usually what it is. But Collects and Nar, you are.
No, we appreciate everybody that not only watches, but if you leave a comment, we appreciate that. I'm gonna get better. That's another thing. I'll get better about reading them in advance, so I'm a little
Right.
prepared for them.
Right. Let me get this
Yeah.
off so we're out of this. All right. Yeah. And then anyone else got anything to follow up? Again, I want to thank Jimmy, Mr. Gunz, for taking a couple hours out of his night on a Monday night to join us on here. Again, you can always catch him Saturday nights with the Gun Show, hashtag 20drink. You'll get familiar with if you don't already know about it. Get some great cards, get some free packs. You don't even have to buy. You don't even have to win a lot. You hit 21st on the bid. Somebody outbids you. You get a free pack at 20. Do it. It's a great time. It's fun. He posts up his rant videos and his videos every once in a while, which are always great. They're always epic. They're always classic. They always have some good insight, good advice. He's always doing some great fundraisers and stuff, raising some great money for a lot of great foundations. So full supporter. He's a close buddy of mine in the hobby. I'm happy to have you on here and happy you're on my side, and we're friends. We're good. So,
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, and his information as well as the rest of the crew's every single podcast is down below. So you guys, if you don't already know, you can just click the link, go to their Twitter, go to their YouTube, whatever it may be, and find them. So, guys, Balls, Brady, Nate, Gunz, you want to say anything at all?
Yeah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it with a quote from the great Aaron Rodgers. If science can't be questioned, it's not science anymore. It's propaganda, and that's the truth.
Love it. All right. Hey, are you coming back on, Balls, or are you just done? Anytime it involves Aaron Rodgers, he's out. He's turning it off. So, all right, guys. Hey, we appreciate you again. I appreciate all you guys, each and every one of you, for joining me and hanging out with me tonight. And until next time, probably be an auction tomorrow night. Don't know what it'll be. Maybe quarters, maybe whatever. We'll figure it out. Till next time, guys. We'll see ya. Take care. Peace.